baby, follow my command, like zombie. Go down on me, oh, with your coca body.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel, Luxury Mommy. I know I have been MIA. My apologies, and it is because I have been so stressed out, but I did it, guys. I bought my first home. Woo! Shout out to the man above, because if it wasn't for him, my hard work, dedication, and of course my good realtor, none of this would have been possible. So I have created a list that can help you guys in the long run when it is time for you to buy your home. Maybe it can be a little less stressful on you, because Lord knows I was stressed out to the max every day. Every single day I was stressed out. I just felt like it was always something, but I pushed through it and I was able to become a homeowner. Now let's just get straight into it, because I have a lot to cover. Hopefully I don't miss anything. I kind of created a list, so I'm just gonna go down a list. And yeah, so the first thing, you want to make sure you have a good credit score. If I'm not mistaken, to pre-qualify for a home, you need at least a minimum of a 625, 630. But to be honest with you, I recommend that you at least have a 700 or even just in the high sixes. And I say that because with the rates going right now, the goal is to have a low mortgage, and the lower your credit score is, mean the higher your mortgage payment would be. And the higher your credit score is, the lower your mortgage payment is. Well, the lower your mortgage payment would be. So that's first thing first. You want to make sure that when it comes to your payment history, so if you have like any open credit cards, any car note, anything that you are paying on and it is reporting on your credit report, you want to make sure that it show at least 2 years of good payment history, because they will, and when I say they, I'm speaking about the financial institutions, they will look at that as bad, because they're like, why would I give this person X amount of money when they can't even pay a couple $100, even $35, $45, however much your credit card bill would be. They can't even pay this little amount. So it's very important to make sure you have a good payment history, at least 2 years, because that is what they tend to look at, the most recent 2 years. Another thing you want to make sure is that you save. You want to have enough money for your down payment, and you also want to make sure you have money saved up for a rainy day. So let's just say if your down payment is $10,000, I recommend that you have at least another $10,000 saved. I would say, okay, maybe $5,000 to $10,000 saved, only because things happen. In my case, I had my down payment money saved, and throughout this process, I actually got into a car wreck. My car got totaled out, so that meant I had to get another car. And of course, when you're in the home buying process, it is a no to get any new debt, have your credit, rent, anything. That's a big no. So I had to go out and buy a cash car. Luckily, I had enough money saved to where I could dig into my savings and buy me a cash car. And that was another key thing that I had to show. I had to show the bank that I had transportation, because they're going to want to know, okay, if you don't have this car anymore, well, how are you getting around? So I had to show proof of when I bought the car. I had to show that I owned the car, and I had to show that I wasn't paying a note on the car. Now, mind you, nothing is wrong with having a note, but on the flip side, if you do have a note, they will count that into your debt to income ratio, which is also something that's very important, and that will play a key part on you getting approved for your new home. So if you could, it's best if you just buy a cash car and you don't have a monthly car note. And that is what I did in my case. I went out to the auction and I got me a nice little car to get around in, and I love that car. It's not a foreign car, but I love that car because Lord knows the way gas prices is, I drive that car. That's my little baby. But yeah, you want to make sure that you have money saved for anything extra. Another thing, so once your credit is in order, you feel like you have enough money saved, the next thing you want to do is find a realtor. Now that is very, very, very important, is to have an awesome realtor, because if you don't have a good realtor, I feel like your home buying process is going to be as stressful, more stressful. With me, originally I met my realtor back in 2018 and I met her off social media, but at that time I wasn't ready to buy a house. So I gave myself some time, and I told myself, because I liked her that much, when it was time for me to buy my new home, I was going to reach back out to her. So it's very important to have a realtor that is on your side, because the way how this market is going, things are going so fast. And I'll tell you, like, I would be up at nighttime looking at stuff. My realtor will be sending me stuff, and I could send my realtor a text message 10 p.m. midnight. She will turn around and get back with me like less than 24 hours. So you definitely want to have a realtor that is on your side. Shout out to my realtor, Renita Crawley. If you guys are looking for a good realtor, I advise you to reach out to her. She is very, very good, very knowledgeable, and she will help you throughout the way. I'm also going to link her information below. Next thing is, you want to pre-qualify. You want to pre-qualify because you don't want to be looking at houses that you know you can't afford. That's just wasting your time, and that's wasting the realtor time, and that's also getting your hopes up. You might see a $500,000, $400,000 home that you like, but in reality your finances ain't matching that. So when it comes to the bank, you're not going to be able to get in that home. Now so you want to make sure that you go ahead and pre-qualify before you find a before you start looking, because like I said, you don't want to waste your time getting your hopes up thinking you getting this, and in reality you only can afford something else. Now with my realtor, she actually had a go-to finance bank that she liked to send some of her clients, well, majority of her clients to. So I actually went through her financial institution, well, not hers, but the bank that she likes to use. I went through them to get pre-qualified. Once you get pre-qualified, that pretty much just shows, that's just step 1 of 1,000 per se, because even though you got pre-qualified, you still have to provide the bank so much documents before you can actually close. But the pre-qualification is just to say, okay, this person has the right credit score, this person makes this amount of money, so this is the max that this person will qualify for. Once you pre-qualify, you guys can start looking at houses. Now with how things are going now, I want to say I probably looked at maybe 15 to 50 houses. We may put in only maybe 20 houses we put in for, because my thing was, I honestly did not want a new construction. And I didn't want a new construction because I knew this was going to be my starter home. I knew this was eventually going to be an investment home, and this was not going to be the end. So I didn't mind not having a brand new house. And then of course too, I also wanted my mortgage to be low. So I wasn't really looking for something really expensive. Now, a rule of thumb, I will say this. Let's just say if you qualify for a home for $300,000, try your best not to find a home at that max point, only because it doesn't give you any wiggle room. And when I say wiggle room, for an example, when it comes to your down payment, if you have a house that is under your pre-qualified amount, depending on what financial bank you go through, it's possible that you don't have to put all that money down up front, but they can kind of tag it on the back end of your loan. And then of course too, you also want to look at your mortgage payment. So if you can, try not to go to the max amount when it comes to doing when it comes to searching for a home. I know it's to be honest, it's probably impossible during this day and age because everything is overpriced. It's ridiculous. But if you can, try not to. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, when you actually find your realtor, I know with my realtor we had a buyer broker agreement, and that just states how much commission your agent will get and how much commission the site agent would get for the home as well. You also want to make sure you read everything that you sign, because I know in my case with my realtor, I think her commission was 3%. It was either like 3% or 2%. It was something like that. But when it came down to closing, the builder only paid, I think, like 1%. So I had to pay out of pocket an additional 2% to my realtor. But that is another reason why I say it's very important to just make sure you have extra money saved up, because bills and unexpected expenses will come out of the woodwork. Another thing is, so once you actually find a property that you like, I know in my case, I got so sick and tired of looking at properties. I was looking at properties for months. I just gave in and I decided to go for a new construction. Now, the thing about a new construction is it is a first come, first served basis. In some cases, I know with my community I found a lot of floor plan that I wanted, and I just put down my earner's money. Now, the way how things going, I do know certain builders have it to where they are going based off of how much that person wants to put down on that lot. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense. But like I said, in my case, I had to put down my earner's money, and that lot was mine. Now, with the earner's money, I want to stress this, and I can't stress this enough. You have a grace period maybe for like a week, and let's just say for some reason you end up finding something else. If you don't cancel within that grace period, you lose your earner's money. Another thing is, I do know a lot of builders, they have preferred lenders. So if you go, and 9 times out of 10, when you go through one of their preferred lenders, you do get an incentive. With my builder, my preferred lender, it was a lower earner's money that I had to put down. I didn't have to put down as much, I know. So with the earner's money, I only had to put $5,000 down, and they also gave me an additional $5,000, and that went towards my closing costs if I used their preferred lender, which I did go that route. But let's just say if I didn't want to use the preferred lender, then I had to put down $10,000 for my earner's money, and they wasn't going to give me any incentive, so I would have never got an additional $5,000. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, this is when it starts to get very, very, very freaking stressful. Oh my gosh, I'm having flashbacks. Now, so we at a point where you found the property that you like, you put down your earner's money, you have your contract in place. Now it's time to get the ball rolling when it comes to the bank. This is the fun part, per se. you have to start submitting all of your documents to the bank. Now, general documents they ask for is like your tax return for the last 2 years, your employment for the last 2 years. So that'll be like your check stubs, or if you're self-employed, they may ask for something else. Any type of income that you want to use towards you getting approved, you have to submit all this documentation. I even had to submit when I bought my new car. I had to submit that this is what I paid for. I had to show that I am the owner, and I also had to show that I did not have a car note. Now, it kind of worked out for me only because when I originally applied for a mortgage, I did have a car note, but once I got into my accident and the car was towed out, it dropped my debt to income ratio, so I no longer had to count that in. So that also helped out as well. Any student loans, if you have any student loans, you have to show, being that I'm still in school, I'm not paying on my student loans right now, but I had to show, like if I get on a income driven plan, this is the amount that I pay. And that's something you can actually call them, and they're going to just ask for your income, and they'll generate you a letter real quick. And you have it like within 24 hours, and that's something that you have to submit to the bank as well. And even though you're not paying on your student loans, eventually you will have to pay on them. So the banks take that into consideration, because they want to make sure when it's time for you to start paying your student loans, you'll also be able to still maintain your monthly mortgage. So that's why they look into that when it comes to your student loans. Also, if you have like a second employer, they will only count that employer if you've been working there for 2 years or more. So let's just say if you had a full-time job but also had a part-time job on the side, they're not going to count that part-time income if you've only been there for 6 months, or if you've been there for a year. You have to be there for a minimum of 2 years in order for them to count that income. So that's something important as well. Even when it comes to working overtime, they want to show that you have it's consistent. Like, this is the amount of money that you are getting every single month when it comes to your overtime. So if you just started working overtime like 6 months, they'll look at that, but they're not going to take that in consideration, because that's just temporary. They want to see that there's a pattern of this income coming in at this certain amount. You also, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's really important? Oh, so all money has to be traceable. It doesn't matter. Well, for me, it was anything over $200. So if somebody was to sell me something, Cash App, if I went to the bank and put $200 in my bank, it has to be traceable. It has to have I had to submit a signed letter, wet print letter to the bank on any transaction over $200 that was not traceable, because they just want to make sure that you're not going out acquiring any new debt, you are not going out getting loans, just anything. So you have to write a letter explaining this is what this money is for. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I didn't touch bases on. Okay, yeah, like with your down payment. So, and I will say, now there are down payment programs that people qualify for if you make under a certain amount. So it goes based off of how much you make, and also the number of people that's in your household that you care for, like your dependents. I know with me, unfortunately, I didn't qualify for any down payment assistance programs, to be honest with you. I really wish I did, because I would have had all that money saved still in my account, but I was unable to qualify for down payment assistance programs. Whatever bank you go through, you can ask them what down payment assistance programs that they may offer. If it's something that they offer, they will see if you will qualify for that program. Everybody don't qualify for those programs. Now, also too, with your down payment, you do have to pay a total of 7% of the total cost of your house. So the 7% is 3.5% for your down payment, and then the other 3.5% is your closing costs, which is just taxes. It's just like a lot of, it's a lot of things, but it totals out to be 7%, and it's 7% of the total, your total cost of your house. So if your house is $300,000, just know you're going to be paying 7% out of pocket total to get in that house. And it's possible you even have to pay more. It really just depends on the situation. Everybody situation is different, but with me, I end up paying a total of 7% total out of pocket. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? So we talked about credit. Credit is very important. We talked about your realtor. You want to make sure that you have a really good realtor. Your property search, you want to pre-qualify before you start looking for a property. Your earnest money, just make sure you keep in mind that if you put that money down, you only have a grace period before you can get that back. If you try to get your money back, well, if you try and ask for to get your funds back after the grace period, they're not going to give it to you. It's non-refundable. You also sign a contract stating that it's non-refundable. Any documents that they ask for, you want to make sure that you are able to submit all documents that they request, because if you don't submit the documents, that could hold up your process and even disqualify you for getting your home. I know with me, it took about maybe 7-8 months for my house to be built completely. So every single month I had to kind of like resend those documents over, and like every single month, because they want to make sure nothing has changed. And if something changed, you need to let your bank know immediately, because you don't want to keep it a secret. Then you think you're about to get ready and close on your house and you don't. So you want to be very honest through this process. You want to submit legal documents through this process, because if not, that can also disqualify you for getting your home through that bank. Don't acquire any new debt. Don't run your social. Do not run your social for anything, because that can mess you up. And you don't want any new debts, because that can also drop down the amount that you qualify for. And Lord knows the way that the rates are going when it comes to these houses, you need all the money you can possibly qualify for, amount that you can qualify for. I'm trying to think. Oh, another thing. Now, if you have any any accounts, like negative accounts that's in collections on your credit, you also want to make sure you pay those off as well, because that can also disqualify you for getting your home. They will not approve you for a loan if they see that you have accounts in collection. Now, if you have any medical accounts, the medical accounts, they do not count towards your debt to income ratio, but it definitely plays a part in your credit score. So if you have any medical collections, you can still get your home, but if you can pay those off, that's even better, because your credit score can increase, which will allow you to get a lower interest rate and your mortgage will be lower. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty. My memory card had got full, so it kind of stopped me in mid video. But yeah, the name of the game is you want to try to get the lowest interest rate possible. My process, it was stressful, because I actually swapped my lenders like mid through me getting fully 100% approved for my loan. Originally I went through Southeast Mortgage I pre-qualified, but the communication was not there. I just felt like they wasn't working. When I say they, the bank, the employees, the people that was assisting me with my loan, I felt like everyone was all on separate pages. It took them a while to get back with me when it came to certain questions I had. So in my best interest, I actually swapped my lender. I still kept a preferred lender, but I just went to a new lender, which was Ameris Bank. And when I say they was so good, oh my God. I actually worked with Larry. He was awesome, but I worked hand in hand with Larry. I submitted him the documentation, and if he needed anything, he'll shoot me a quick email and he will call me. Just make sure I received his emails. But I worked with Larry throughout the process, and it was wonderful. I will say it made me less stressed working with them versus when I was working with the first lender. So I will tell you this, guys, do not be afraid. If you feel like you're not being treated as such, take your business elsewhere. There are plenty of lenders out there, and that's what I did. I was a little afraid because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm 5 months in, I've been sending them documentation, and now I want to swap, but I just didn't like the business. So yes, I changed my lenders midway through me getting fully approved for my loan when it came to my house. I believe I touched all bases, but if you have any other questions, just drop a comment below and I will respond to your questions on my next video. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, Luxury Mommy. Just remember to pray, drink your water, save money, and be safe out here. Love on your loved ones, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel.
Baby, follow my command, like zombie. Go down on me, oh, with your coca body. Follow my command, like zombie.